I don't have a speech prepared, but normally I don't need one anyway, so I can just shoot from the hip. If you had told me 4 years ago that I'd be standing in the senior center talking about a garden on Early Street, I probably would have said, yeah, okay, along with 9,000 other things people want to do in Morristown. But there's 3 women I want to recognize. Sam, who's in front, Myra, and Carol, were the 3 women who really kind of pushed this in my ear prior to an election about open space and about preserving this land on Early Street. There's one person I also want to recognize. I think this all doesn't work if this person doesn't do this, and that's Tim Jones, the property owner. You know, Anthony and I were just talking briefly before this, and we were talking about open space and green space. When you hear about green space, you think about lots of big lands, and I'm on the Highlands Commission, so you think about a lot of preservation, big patches of acreages of preserved land. But as we grow in the state and grow urbanly, open space is just as critical now as it's ever been. And when you have a town like Morristown and have the ability to preserve some open space, it's a fight because land is so valuable. Even these small acres are so valuable, and they're more valuable to the urban centers, I think, than they are to the suburbs. Because if you're going to grow our downtown and grow our small town, then you have to have open space that goes with it. And we've been very fortunate to get a couple of little parcels of open space. I think this is significant in 2 ways. One is, 4 or 5 years ago, this would not have been considered by the previous administration that was in office. And don't get me wrong, you know, everybody has their vision and their philosophy, and this was part of redevelopment, and it was going to be a building built on this land that would have, I think, been a detriment to that area. And we all got together and we won an election based on a number of philosophies, and one of them was to believe in open space and to believe in preservation in areas that have development, that people will feel more free and more open to be involved and have some breathing room, and not just to be compiled with building upon building upon building. So the first thing was the Early Street Garden. I remember Sam early on, before the election, saying, you know, this is really important to a lot of people, and it really is. And to watch it really play out and really come to this point where I get to stand up here and thank all these people that are involved and made this happen. Who would have thought that all these things would have just fell into place? Who would have thought that the county open space preservation would give us $1.5 million? And I'll never forget the day that they were all standing down at the garden, and I stood in the back just so they saw me. And the presentation in front of the board at the library with Phil and Daniel and Sam and everybody who was there, and all the hard work that Myra and Carol and all the people now that are involved, Maureen and so many different people that are involved in the backing of my councilwoman, Rebecca Feldman, who, you know, helped steer me in my political election 4 years ago and helped me get to the place where we were able to do this. I can only say that I think it's a monumental feather in my career in Morristown as a mayor, that is, and Tim and I just spoke about it just briefly, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be open space. It's always going to be a piece of green in Morristown that people will look at years from now and say, wow, you know, there was a group of people that believed in small pockets of open space in an urban setting, and a garden to boot where people can grow fresh food and give to the community. I can't put enough words on it, and I don't have enough time to really stand up here and say what it really means to a number of people in this community. But I'm happy to be part of it. I'm happy that I played a small part. These women from Grow Green, really, you deserve the accolades for this. I'm just the vehicle that believed in you. You believed enough in me to get me elected, but I also believe in what you stand for. And that's the partnership between government, its citizens, and the different groups that made this happen, all the groups that are here today represented. So on behalf of the citizens of Morristown, I thank you, Grow Green. I thank the Public Trust Land, there's so many green acres, public land, the county, and all the people that were involved in keeping in my ear and keeping the fight to make this happen. And it's going to be a better development. All those affordables that were going to be built on this site will be integrated throughout the development, so they're not losing any housing, and we gained open space, and we keep the housing. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of the council, and Rebecca Feldman, who's here, I just thank you all for the support that you give to this community, and we look forward to it. If we can find more open space, I think Sam's probably already working on that. I think somebody starts with an L. She knows what I'm talking about. So we'll keep up the fight, and we're very happy that we were able to be part of it. We weren't the driving force, but we were there to support what your needs were, and I think it was a great win for the community. Michael Rogers is in the back, our business administrator, had to deal with a lot of this on the governmental side, so we appreciate Paul Miller. I'm not going to keep going because I'll start talking about the artist Baker and everybody else who's in the room, Marty, who's back there. So thank you all. Thank you for giving me a couple of minutes, and we look for continued success. And again, thank you, Grove Green, for what you do for the community.